Shalom. I'd like to begin by saying Barak Atah Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that rule well, and salutations to the sincere Akiyam that push this truth with all due diligence and sincerity. I ain't even got to go into all of these articles, because there's evidence what's going on. But I just want to literally just re-emphasize the facts. Britain, Europe, America are all broke, finished. The economic system has collapsed. I was going to say collapsing, but it has collapsed. It's finished, it's over, and there ain't no coming back. Britain is broke and broken, new government declares. UK is broke and broken, new government says. Yeah. New report reveals UK economy is almost £150 billion smaller. And this was in January 2024. Imagine now. 6.8 million people struggling to pay for essentials despite falling inflation. Why isn't Britain getting richer anymore? UK is broken. Financial stability report is going to show negative trends. The VER group is the UK in a financial crisis. Yes, Britain is broken. How are financial pressures affecting people in Great Britain? This used to be the economic hub of the world from where I'm recording this video, and in London. London is no longer even the top financial districts. Without London, the UK is literally statistically worse off than Romania. Mississippi is the poorest US state. Yeah. And ultimately, the entire UK doesn't even come close, yeah, to Mississippi, but when you don't even factor in London, it's finished. The UK is done, completely done. And even Germany, the top performing European nation, the Teamanites, where, but like the apostles went into, the smart, so-called smart Edomites, yeah, the Teamanites, the Germans. They are in a recession, and that is Europe's strongest economy. The second strongest economy was England. Was the UK when it was in the EU. And since they left and put sanctions on themselves through Brexit, they've been fucked. France is the third strongest economy. They're struggling. Everyone else is basically shit. Spain, Italy, Portugal, all of these other, Sweden, all these different nations, nowhere near enough gross produce generated. You got it to where the US is also fucked, and ultimately, man, it's just a sign that this kingdom was not built to last. Esau Edom, of course, is going to try and rebuild. He's going to, through organized chaos, try to establish his new world order. But it's not going to work, man. Isaiah 31 verse 1. Woe, meaning destruction, to them that go down to Egypt for help. Now, ultimately, that's representative of America first and foremost. But even this whole system, man, people that trust in, and I'm applying that to the people that just trust in the way of living in this world, man. It says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many. And in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. You see, our people are not worried about the Heavenly Father, man. The Lord is the further, and what He wants is the furthest thing from the mind of our people, man. furthest thing. And ultimately, their trust in Egypt, man, is going to be their confusion. Isaiah 30 verse 1 to back that. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Because the majority of our people trust in capitalism. They trust in Esau Edom's society, whereby you just literally do people dirty, to partake in satanic practices, even the literal worshipping of Satan, sexual magic, all sorts of wickedness, drugs, illicit sex, just to be able to get up in society. Basically pretty much getting straight up and down in bed, literally and spiritually, with the left hand side, man. That walk down to go into Egypt, that walk to go down into Egypt and have no arcs on my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. When Trump had his whole political campaign, and even after he won, you had loads of Jake. Normal, every other day Jake, and and celebrities celebrating it, man. Talking about a new era for America, wearing MAGA hats, doing all of that. When Labour was campaigning and coming into power, you had Jake talking about, yeah, bold Labour, them old school Benjamites that will forever love Labour, even though Labour ain't done nothing for them the same way the Conservatives ain't. And for Jake in the US, the Democrats and the Republicans is basically both fucked you over. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Because you see, ultimately in our law, and I've gone into this many a times, it plainly actually says that a heathen shall not rule over Israel. Only one whom the Lord shall choose. So when even even Saul, although he went off when he was anointed to be king over Israel, guess what? The Lord set Saul the Benjamite up as the first king of Israel officially, even though really Moses was a king unto us in the wilderness. And then King David was then appointed king, the youngest of all his brothers, the keeper of the sheep, but he was appointed king. And then he had Solomon, who in the spirit was Yahushua, and Israel had 40 years of peace, and reigned he reigned so well that gold was literally a stone, man. You see, because he followed the wisdom of Yahushua. What Solomon prayed for as soon as he became king of Israel, when he could have had anything from the Lord, was that he prayed for wisdom to be able to effectively guide and judge Israel. And as a result of that, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, blessed him with wisdom, man. So King Solomon was able to guide Israel effectively. Now, and ensure that we have 40 years of prosperity, peace, and riches, man. Now, you got it to where, in comparison to that, Esau, Edom's kingdom, the feet of steel mixed with miry clay, and the worst and most raggedy of all the kingdoms. Yeah. Ultimately, every Edomite nation upon the face of the planet Earth, from America down to the least of them, is experiencing a financial crisis. They're all broke. Yeah. They're all in debt. And you wonder who they're in debt to? They're international bankers, man, the elites that are the ones that are funding them through these central banks. That the elites own central banks in over 90% of the countries across the globe, man. There's only a few nations that still don't have one, Cuba being one, and there's a few others, but the elites are funding these nations through their central banks. They're running these countries into the ground. And you got it to where, ultimately, man, people that thought that Trump was going to come in and make it better are suffering. You got it to where people that believed in Keir Starmer and that bullshit centre left shit that he was pushing are suffering, because both Trump and Starmer, although they have their differences, Trump is more right wing and Keir Starmer is really centre left. He has that whole thing of, yeah, I'm here for the working people. I'm not going to increase your income taxes, but me and my chancellor are going to increase employers' national insurance, which is ultimately really going to hit you like a tax anyway. But they play on the stupidity. They play on the stupidity of the people. Ultimately, man, they're ruling this kingdom in a stupefied state, man. And they don't, well, they do know what they're doing in wickedness, because they've got all sorts of different bodies responsible for financial stringency. They've got the Treasury and the government, the Bank of England, which is supposed to be an independent body. They've got the Office of National Statistics, the Office of Budget Responsibility, so many different auditing firms, but they still are fucking the people over, man. And as you can see here, 6.8 million people struggling to pay for essentials. Really and truly, now it's probably climbed up to about 40%, if not 50% of the population by 2025, and it's only going to continue to get worse. But it's because this man, like I said in a previous video, is trying to usher in the chip. And then also, because at the end of the day, man, the Lord is not with this place. This kingdom has been found wanting, man, and it's going down. The UK, where brothers are at here, is going to go broke, man. Like, the British Empire has had its sunset from ages ago. All they got is that gold that they've stolen and a few diamonds. But the Lord is going to strip them of all of that, and we are going to take that back, man. The saints shall take the kingdom, as is written within the scriptures, man. And we're going to, inclusive of of taking the kingdom, we're also going to take these heathens and have them in our possessions, man. Daniel 7 verse 18, but the saints of the Most High Yahweh shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Amen. Yeah, and when we're in captivity and we got these Edomites subjected, we're going to sing for joy in our beds. We're going to rejoice because the Lord gave us the neck of our enemies, man. And that's what we're waiting upon. We're waiting to be able to rule these heathen in perpetuity, including these Edomites, because ultimately the Lord is going to be able to bless us with precious stones and wealth, like likes of which we've never seen. You see, when you read the book of Revelations, yeah, it tells you about the different riches that are going to be in the kingdom, and the different jasper stones and onyxes and emeralds, diamonds, be more precious than anything Esau Edom's kingdom can provide. But when you also go into, just a second, Revelations, the 18th chapter, and it speaks about the destruction of this kingdom, you gotta understand, like, America first and foremost is going to be totally desolate, but the Lord's also going to strike key cities, London, of course, Paris, all of these flagship cities, man. And all of the riches that's associated with America and these different regions is going to be decimated. Revelations 18 and 15 and 14, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her, talking about America first and foremost, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. This is talking about when America's hit with those missiles. All the merchants that were made rich off trading with America are going to be standing afar off, seeing the destruction, fearful, or they're going to be lamenting because they're going to know that they're not going to make any money anymore. Because you see, right now, all of these reports of financial instability are hitting the poor, because the going into COVID, and even before that, you want to go back as far as 2008, and really in America, when Nixon took them off the gold standard, the money just started to inflate immediately, and you got a situation whereby the velocity, the amount of money in the system was consistently increased because the central banks were pushing out money. The banks were practicing quantitative easing, where they keep a portion of the money within the bank, but flip the rest of it into investments and actually start spending more than they actually have, because they know they can just keep bankrolling more money. So you had situations whereby ultimately, man, lost my train of thought, man. But you had ultimately situations whereby people were able to get rich. Yeah, that's it. They were able to get rich if they were wealthy. So the wealthy were basically pretty much hogging people's money, man. Like I'll give you CV for example. During the lockdowns, they pumped stimulus into the economy, but they knew that the majority of poor people have living expenses as their main outgoing. Like the average salary in the UK is 30k, so the majority of people would have just been able to get that salary, even though they weren't going anywhere. They need the money for their house. They would have paid their bills. They would have paid their mortgage or their rent, and then pretty much maybe had an extra £100 to stretch for the month for food. So all of the money that went out in stimulus, where these people couldn't work for money, literally was government funded. It went out into the public. The public paid that into the mortgage companies, the banks, their landlords, etc. And that all that money then went up through the chain to the people that own the houses, or produce the food, or run the banks that these people bank with. And even if it went to landlords that were smaller landlords, they would have ultimately had mortgages themselves to pay. So ultimately that money would have filtered right back up to the super rich. And you have a situation whereby the rich continuously get cash rich, puts them in a situation where they can then get assets like houses and stocks and even down to gold and finer metals, and that causes their wealth to appreciate, because of the fact that really a lot of them, like people like Rishi Sunak, don't even really have to work. He can live the rest of his life of interest, and there's a lot of rich fuckers like that. So they continue to buy assets with your money that filters right back up to them when you pay your your bills and your utilities, and do even when you do your food shop and all the rest of it, because somebody owns Sainsbury's, Tesco's, they got Asda, etc. They got shareholders, all these supermarkets. So you got a situation whereby the poor are getting starved out. The wealthy are continuously just getting asset rich and also cash rich, and they're using that to buy more assets, making them even more rich. And so, yeah, the average man is suffering, and he suffer even more in these times. But you got a situation whereby here in Revelations 18, all of the merchants of the earth that were made rich, yeah, the real wealthy, because at the end of the day, the people that are suffering, even brothers are suffering, but the Lord's will, us, Yahweh, shall route us down to the end, Lord willing, will be delivered. But the wealthy that were actually made rich by this place are going to be wailing, because they're going to see America totally decimated and destroyed. Any sort of physical homes they got there, stocks that they got with companies, that all those companies are going to be totally decimated and destroyed. They're going to lose money and riches, and so they're going to be cursing the Most High out even when the destruction occurs, which is if they're not taken up in smoke in America, which is why the Lord's going to deploy His elect, and we're going to go out there grabbing these Edomites up, man, and taking them, their children, their women, and their assets, man, off them. Because Israel's going to go back to owning everything, and the true Israelites, not these small hats. Revelations 18 and 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, talking about America, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. It's fucked. Everything's going to be totally destroyed. The whole economic system, because America is one of the most prominent nations. It's not the ultimate powerhouse it was, but it's still got the world reserve currency. It's got the strongest military. They are a massive consumer nation. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and of all fine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble. All of that's gone. It's going to be literally in an hour decimated. And cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and the souls of men. Man, massive infrastructure, man. Years and years and years of development and wickedness is going to be lost in America and these major cities. London, the financial hub. I said it earlier in a video. Without London, the UK is nothing. London's going to be hit by a missile, man, most likely from Russia. So is Paris, so is Berlin, all of these key cities, man. It's just that with America, the entire landmass, specifically America, is going to be burnt up, man. So thus saith the Lord, man, with those nuclear missiles and their warheads. And the fruits of that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off from the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. And because, these individuals, up until the destruction comes, are going to be doing pretty good. It's just the average man that's going to be broken, if they're not already. But these merchants, they're going to be doing decently until the Lord, literally in 1 hour, as the scripture is going to go on to say, destroys everything, man. And saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught. And that's another reason why I say, brothers, even if Esau tells you he's going to kill you if you don't take the shit, don't take it, man. Because look what's going to happen to Esau's kingdom in the end, man. Imagine taking that shit thinking, I'm cool for a minute. And then literally within an hour, everything's destroyed when the Lord brings the destruction. It's not worth it, man. Fuck that. Hey, die with your dignity if you got to, if it comes down to that. The Lord obviously knows every man's test, but hey man, fuck Esau is the message, man, and what he comes with. For in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? Because America's going to be totally gone, man. And you know, all these nations still financially depend on America, even though America is a financial crisis, man. Because the food costs keep going up. They got a bird flu at the moment where eggs are being sold for like a dozen eggs are being sold for like $15 and continuously increasing, you know, because it takes time for the population to come back up. Millions of birds across the US have been killed, and they got shortages, man, of literally dairy of eggs, man. And soon you're gonna have other issues out there when and other animals start hitting the deck. It's all going down. It's all going down, man. But America's still, despite all of that, still pretty much a very wealthy city, making the upper elite rich. And so when even they start to get hurt financially, they're going to be losing their minds. You're going to have certain of the elites that are going to lose huge fortunes, man, huge chunks of it, because they got the majority of it in America, whether it be in the bank or physical homes and assets. Once the banks go, fuck it, man. It is what it is, man. You know, you ain't gonna even be able to get your money back through an insurance scheme, because that's gonna be burnt up as well. You know, here in the UK, we got the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. They got their equivalent there in America. The bank blows. It's all gonna be gone, man. Fickle. For in 1 hour, so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors and many as trade by sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust upon their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. So owners, you know, people that were able to do international trade, businessmen, real heavy hitters. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets. Barakatah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh, for Yahweh hath avenged you on her. And that's what the Lord is going to do, man, to destroy this place, to literally, man, first and foremost, take out the average everyday man, the scoffer, man, people that thought we were bugging when we said America was going to be destroyed. And then the Lord's also going to take out the super rich, man. And especially these elites when they're ultimately about to get to the crown of their kingdom, man, and have everybody chipped and so-called, but well, the heathen chipped. In that heathen, I include the 2/3 of our people, and then ultimately as their beck and call for everything financially. That's when the Lord's gonna strike through and elevate us. And although we be poor now, we're gonna be made rich in the kingdom of heaven, man, because we're building up our bank accounts spiritually with the Lord. So I mean, hey, America's gonna be destroyed and fucked. Britain is fucked already. Britain is fucked. Europe is fucked. The economic system is fucked. It's going to crash. Esau Edom is going to try and implement his chip. But hey, in the midst of all of that, the Lord is gonna come with that nuclear fire, man, to destroy it and devour out, and to destroy it and devour at once. So I mean, the point has been made. Until the next time, I say shalom. Stay strong, Akim. We're nearly there. Shalom. Kwame Ashala.